I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to apologize for breaking the book buying ban. I'm so sorry. Can you ever forgive me? Oh, okay, I'll let you down. As a lot of you probably are aware on BookTube, I was participating in the evil Criminali's 100 or book ban challenge. He was doing 100 books. He was reading 100 books until he bought more. And I wasn't going to stick to that rigid of a rule. I was just going to wait till I filled up my sell box. But frankly, I had a really rough January, and I met up with some friends this weekend, and you know what? I just decided, fuck it. Fuck the book buying ban. I'm just going to go fucking crazy. I'm just going to buy books. I'm going to fucking enjoy myself, god damn it. So, if I'm gonna break the book buying ban, I might as well make content out of it. So here is my my follow-up book haul. My willpower is nothing compared to Olly. We all bow to him. I'm sorry, Master. Please don't hate me. But I do think I have not been buying as many books, or aside from like library books and things, or like things that Aaron allows me to buy every once in a while. I have been buying less books than I was before the ban. So I think since I just had this big sort of blowout, I will try and like curb my buying and try to read more of the books that I actually own, because that's why we own them, right? To read them. So I've got a little over 15 books here. Most of these are from half price, but I have a few from Barnes & Noble, which because I got a gift card. So I will talk about those at the end. Yeah, let's get into it. So this is the first book I got. This is The Selkie by Charles Sheffield and David Bischoff. I have no idea. I'd never heard of this or these authors. I just saw this in the horror section and it sounded interesting. It's about a woman who comes from America to Scotland with her husband, and she meets this mysterious man who I'm guessing turns out to be a Selkie. So maybe sort of like an early paranormal romance kind of thing. This was published in 1982, so kind of interesting. I'm curious what it was doing in the horror section, if it's going to take a horror bent, or if it's just if it just was mislabeled. I don't know, but the step back art helped convince me. Yum yum. So yeah, I don't know. Selkies are cool. I like paranormal romance. It's hetero, but still, I can pretend, right? So I don't know. We'll see how that is. That's the Selkie. I've got a controversial one here. This is Firefly by Piers Anthony. I know. So Piers Anthony is kind of a controversial figure. I know he's had some problematic elements in some of his Xanth novels. I've only read the first one, and I thought it was okay, but I wanted to read this one because it's so controversial. So this was a horror novel that he wrote in the 90s that I guess is about this, the touch of Firefly is the most erotic experience of your life and the very last. So it's basically this thing that unleashes everyone. It unleashes your carnal desires, and then you basically die from it, essentially. And apparently this book goes to some pretty dark, pretty controversial places, you can probably imagine, based on that premise. I'm sure it's going to be incredibly problematic, probably more than a little trashy. But to be honest, I wanted to read it for that reason. I wanted to see kind of what all the fuss was about. And, we're always talking about transgression and things like that, on this channel and in the fucked up horror booktube community at large. So I wanted to give it a try, whether it's good or not, I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be very fucked up, but I mean, that's what we're here for, right? So we'll see how that turns out. Next I have The Golem and the Jinni by Helene Wecker, or Helene Wecker, I don't know how you pronounce that. This is a fantasy novel about a golem and a genie. This is a limited edition. The cover is normally, I'll put up the normal cover here so you can see what it looks like, but I've heard a lot about this over the years. I have some friends who are really, really big fans of this book. I like golems. I like Jinni. It sounds interesting. It seems like it's very like poetically written, and of course, I love that sort of stuff. And this limited edition copy seemed kind of interesting, and it was cheap. It was like $5, so I was like, why not? So yeah, we'll see what that's like. So, of course, it'll become immediately obvious why I had to get this one. This is The Silver Crown by William Bridges. This is a rage novel set in the World of Darkness universe, more specifically Werewolf the Apocalypse. So, I mean, that right there tells you why I needed to buy it. I've been sort of lightly collecting a bunch of the White Wolf novels. I have a few that I've shown off in other videos, and this was like $3. I have no idea if it's any good or not, but I love this world. I love this universe. So I had to try it out. And look at that art. Look at all those werewolf daddies. So it sounds interesting. It's about a werewolf named Lord Albrecht and another werewolf who's like, and they're like fighting over ascension to the throne. I don't know. It looks like a lot of political finagling. This might be a sequel because it does say on the back here, yeah, it's the second in a series of novels based on the World of Darkness card game Rage, which I think was a short-lived trading card game that they had in the 90s. So I don't know. We'll see what that's like. I have no idea if it's any good or not, but it's short and it's a werewolf novel, so I'll get something out of it, hopefully. We'll see. So yeah, there you go. Next I have here The Thread That Binds the Bones by Nina Kiriki Hoffman. I just found this in the clearance section for like $1. I just really liked the title. I think I've read some of Nina Kiriki Hoffman's short stories before in like various collections here and there, and I liked them. They're very sort of mythologically influenced, fairy tale influenced, very poetic style, which, I like. And it sounds interesting. So it says, Tom Renfield is a drifter, a loner, a man possessing powers and secrets even he cannot fully fathom. He can soar through the air, transform people into birds, and save lives with a skin of sky. Laura Bolte is the beautiful, rebellious daughter of an ancient family with awesome abilities and dark intentions, a family that has held an entire town in its supernatural sway for generations. And so these two characters meet and are wed, and the families are gathering to celebrate their nuptials, and apparently some shit goes down, as it says, to set in motion a terrible shredding of the thread that binds the bones. Doesn't that sound awesome? I love that title. I have no idea what it means, but it just sounds cool. So yeah, it seems very like magical, very mythological. I love that sort of stuff. There's a blurb there from Roger Zelazny, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll see how that is. This is another just totally random find. I've never heard of this author, never heard of this book. This is December by Phil Rickman. This again, I just found this randomly in the horror section, and it sounded interesting. It's like this big chonker of a book. It's like, like 675 pages. It's like a big epic horror chunker that takes place in this old 12th century abbey that was said to have been it is said every stone was cemented in blood, and so it's about this band. The abbey's been converted into a recording studio, and this band has gathered there to record an album. And apparently some shit goes down with that album. And then years later, the Abbey tapes, known as the Black Album, resurface. And the scattered members of the Philosopher's Stone, the band, know that it's time for a reunion. Time to return to that dark December night for one last performance. So it's got kind of like a Peter Straub, like ghost story, Stephen King's It kind of vibe, with like people coming together after a great tragedy, supernatural incident. There's all the stuff about like haunted places and sort of a mysterious. I love stuff about like mysterious art. So like stuff about like lost films or like albums or whatever. In this case, so that just sounded really interesting. And yeah, like I said, I'd never heard of this author, but it just sounded like a really interesting idea. It's a big book. Sometimes it's nice to just like take a chance on something, see how it turns out. So I have no idea if that's any good, but that's December by Phil Rickman. Next we have, I believe this was, this is Dragons of Autumn Twilight. This is volume 1 of the Dragonlance Chronicles by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman. I believe this was the very first Dragonlance novel published, right? Or it was one of the first. I know this is one of the earliest Dungeons and Dragons novels published. When was this? 1984, yeah. So this is a very early Dungeons and Dragons novel, one that I've heard a lot about. There's a lot of love for this book and this series and these authors. So it's something I've always been wanting to try, but I was never able to find the first book just out in the wild until today. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I've heard a lot about it. I've always wanted to read it. It sounds like it has to do with lifelong friends. They went their separate ways. So bromance. I'm in for some. I'm into some fantasy bromance. I know they made an animated movie of this in like 2008 that I heard was like really bad. So I don't know. I really don't know a whole lot about it. I've just heard, I've heard this mentioned a lot among sort of fantasy and like Dungeons and Dragons fans and stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully that's good. Okay, now, and this will also be obvious why I bought this. This is a Lonely Werewolf Girl by Martin Millar. Again, werewolf novel. I had to grab it, but this is it's about a teenage werewolf named Calix McRinalk. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's about her sort of being pursued through the streets of London, sort of an urban fantasy thing. There's all this other stuff going on. This expansive tale of werewolves in the modern world: elegant werewolves, troubled teenage werewolves, friendly werewolves, homicidal werewolves, fashionista werewolves, warriors, punks, cross-dressers, musicians. An entire clan of werewolves getting in trouble from the Scottish Highlands to London and in several dimensions beyond. So, I mean, that just sounded awesome, right? And again, it's a big book. It's like over 550 pages, so big, expansive, urban fantasy novel revolving around werewolves. I had to try it, and there's a blurb on the back here from Neil Gaiman, and he compares him to Kurt Vonnegut, Terry Pratchett, and Douglas Adams, so that just sounds awesome. I really look forward to that. Hopefully that's good. Next I have The Gospel of Loki by Joanne M. Harris. I believe Joanne Harris is the one who wrote Chocolat, right? I'll have to check. I'm pretty sure I'm right, though. But yeah, this I was just suckered in based on the concept. I love anything about mythology. I love Norse mythology. I love Loki. I love trickster gods, trickster characters. And this is literally... Oh yeah, it says on the back here, the author of Chocolat. This is literally... It's a first-person narrative of the rise and fall of the Norse gods, but it's told from the point of view of Loki. So it's sort of like Loki narrating this story, with all of his own, biases and his sort of like impish whimsy and that kind of thing. So it sounds really interesting. Sounds like a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll like it. Hopefully it's good. Yeah. Next I have Sunlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. This is the first novel in the Books of Babel series, published by Orbit. This is an epic fantasy series that I've heard a lot about. The main reason that I wanted to read it is just because it sounds like a really cool concept. So it's about this, mild-mannered headmaster Thomas Senlin prefers his adventures to be safely contained within the pages of a book. So when he loses his new bride shortly after embarking on the honeymoon of their dreams, he is ill-prepared for the trouble that follows. To find her, Senlin must enter the Tower of Babel, a world of geniuses and tyrants, of luxury and menace, of unusual animals and mysterious machines. So it's like this mild-mannered, sort of bookish guy ascending through this massive tower with all kinds of crazy people and creatures and stuff in it, and it just sounds really, really interesting. I love that sort of stuff where it's like stories that like take place in like one location, like that movie The Raid, stuff like that. Snowpiercer, all takes place on a train. I love that kind of stuff. It sounds really cool. I've heard a lot of good things about it, so yeah, looking forward to that. Next we have Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. This is an author I've heard a lot about. He's got several novels out, a lot of which my friends have read and enjoyed. He sort of tends to write, I guess, sort of like self-referential, or very sort of like, not parodies, but very sort of like relying on like sort of references to like horror tropes and that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, Meddling Kids. So this is about four teenagers and a dog who tracked down... the source of this monster that was apparently, terrorizing this town, and of course it turned out to be, a guy committing elaborate fraud, as all Scooby-Doo villains are. But then it turns out that later, now that they're 20-somethings, this monster apparently comes back, and so they have to return to their hometown and figure out the truth behind what's going on. So yeah, a very sort of a hipstery, self-referential take on Scooby-Doo. Seems like fun. I don't know for sure, but I think there might be gay shit. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so I look forward to reading that at some point. It sounds fun. Next I have Blood Music by Greg Bear. This is sort of I guess this is sort of a crossroads between sci-fi and horror. It's about like a scientist who's like working on this like disease culture. Yeah, he's determined to tailor a convenient common virus into a powerful computer element, a biochip, but what he creates instead is an independent microscopic intelligence that breeds and spreads and mutates. And before he can be fired and have all of his like research destroyed, he injects himself with this disease culture, and apparently some fucked up shit goes down. So I know it has to do with like I think like forced evolution and stuff like that. Maybe a little bit of body horror. I don't know. It's just something I've heard a lot about. I've heard good things about Greg Bear. A lot of people in the sci-fi community really like him, and this just looked really interesting. And I love that cover art. So yeah, it sounds potentially fucked up and interesting. So yeah, we'll see what that's like. Again, this will be totally self-explanatory once I show you what it is. This is Red Hood by Alana K. Arnold. Of course, this is a YA retelling of Red Riding Hood with werewolves. So of course I had to buy it. I believe, this person, Alana K. Arnold, they also wrote Damsel, which I believe is a retelling of Cinderella, I think. But I heard a lot of good things about that. And I love a good retelling. Anybody who knows me knows that. So, of course, I was all over this. I have no idea if it's any good or not. I have not read anything by her before, but it's a Red Riding Hood retelling with werewolves. So, I mean, I'm required, legally. I'll go to jail if I don't. So, yeah, hopefully that's good. And then finally, for the stuff I got from Half Price, I was actually really happy to find this. I don't think this is like super rare or anything. I'll have to check, but this is a hardcover edition of The Kill Riff by David J. Scow. This is originally published by Tor Horror in 87, I believe? 88. So yeah, this is one of those sort of notorious like paperback horrors or paperbacks from hell type thing that a lot of people remember fondly. I know Will Erickson gave it a decent review. I think it was Will Erickson, or was it Grady Hendrix? One of them gave this a pretty decent review. So it's one that I've always wanted to read, and to get it in this like nice hardcover edition is really cool. I believe it's about this guy who like wants to get revenge on this like rock group because he blames them for the death of his daughter or something like that, and it's like very like bananas, very like pulpy, very like crazy and entertaining, it sounds like. I've heard a lot of good things about David J. Scow. I haven't read a lot of his stuff. I read a couple of his short stories and I liked them, but he's sort of considered one of the sort of splatterpunk, part of the splatterpunk scene in the 80s. So I've always wanted to read more of his stuff. And so, yeah, like I said, I was really happy to find this. So hopefully that's good. We'll see. And then finally, at Barnes & Noble, because I had a gift card, I bought a few things. These are actually part of the same series. This is Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio. This is book 1 in the Sun Eater series. I know Michael K. Vaughan read this recently, and he really, really enjoyed it. And it sounds really interesting. I basically had it sold to me as like a sci-fi version of The Name of the Wind, where it's this guy, what's his name? Hadrian, who's like revered as this like hero of the galaxy because he killed this alien race. And so this is basically like him sort of retelling his own story from his perspective and kind of like going into sort of the true, the real shit, the true story. And and he works as like he's forced to like fight as a gladiator, to navigate the intrigues of a foreign planetary court. It just sounds really interesting and really fun, and I love that cover art. That is so cool. And actually, I was just going to buy the first book, but they had the second book, and as soon as I saw the cover art, I was like, okay, fine, I have to get it. So this is Howling Dark. This is book 2 by Christopher Ruocchio. I have no idea how this continues on from the first book. Like I said, I just saw that pretty boy, that pretty cyborg man. Looks a bit like Elric, and I was just like, man, that's fucking sick. I need to have that. So hopefully I like the first book, because these are big books. These are both like over 700 pages. So hopefully if I like them, then that'll be good. So we'll see how those are. And then real quick, this was also a recent acquisition that I just wanted to show you guys because it's really cool. This is The Art of Small Films, the work of Oliver Postgate and Peter Furman. So, most of you who aren't British probably don't know about small films, but they were a film company that was created by Oliver Postgate and Peter Furman. They made these really charming, sweet, just wonderful little stop-motion treasures. They're probably most known for the clangers, which is what these are. They're these little anteater-looking things who live on the moon, and they speak in whistles. And they're also known for Bagpuss, the little pink cat who is an old saggy cloth cat who lives in a shop window. And so this book is basically just an exploration of, the art of all of the shows that they worked on. And my husband Aaron is a huge fan of small films. He grew up with it, and because of his interest, it got me into it as well. So I love small films. I actually have a copy of Oliver Postgate's autobiography here, Seeing Things, which I read a couple years ago and I really enjoyed, and I'm going to be rereading soon because part of the reason I bought this was just because I wanted it, but also because I plan to make a video about sort of the history of small films and my personal experience with them and stuff. And, I wanted to be able to do some research. But yeah, this book is really cool, really detailed, beautiful photographs. There's some armatures there. Clanger skeletons. There's some, there's the Iron Chicken and the Iron Chick from Clangers. There's some, and there's Bagpuss. So yeah, this is Aaron had a flip through this earlier, and he said it's very, very detailed, very lovingly composed. There's all kinds of beautiful photographs and drawings. Here's some cutout characters from Ivor the Engine. So yeah, it's really, really lavishly put together. It's a really, really nice book. It's like solid. It's got really thick pages, so this will last a long time. So we're both really, really happy to have this. So yeah, hopefully you'll be seeing more of that whenever I talk about small films in a later video. So, and then the final thing I got at Barnes & Noble, I already shot an earlier video for, so I will show you that now. Me and some friends opened up our books. They were doing a blind date with a book thing at Barnes & Noble, and me and my friends each bought one book, and we decided to open them together on camera. So here's that. I hope you enjoy. Hey, so I'm here at the end of the video to do another blind book haul. We went to Barnes & Noble earlier, and they were doing these blind date with a book things where they just tell you what it is and a little bit about it on the front, and then you go on a blind date with a book. So we'll see what we got. Sorry, I'm bleeding from a scab. So yeah, hopefully we don't actually own any of these already, but we'll see. Who wants to go first?
I guess so. Yeah,
okay, what does yours say? It says, YA sci-fi, sharp representation of anxiety and depression for fans of Welcome to Night Vale, empath learning to deal with his powers, queer romance. It's like if the X-Men went to therapy.
I wonder why I picked that one.
Yeah, I wonder why you picked that one.
Who knows?
It's a mystery. Just like the book.
It's just Christmas paper that they put inside out.
Oh, is it?
It's legit just Christmas.
That's funny.
That was fantastic.
What is it? Oh,
I need to know.
I was right.
Infinite Noise.
It is Infinite Noise.
The Infinite Noise by Lauren Shippen, which I think this is an adaptation of, The Bright Sessions, which is like a podcast that I don't know a whole lot about, but this is, it's gay shit. That's all I know about it. Gay X-Men. I actually have a copy of this from the library, but, so yeah, I'm sure you'll be into that.
Sounds awesome.
Do you want to go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
What does yours say?
Science fiction romance. It's a queer MM.
Why'd you pick this one?
What do you think? I got love and sex, wealth and debt, abuse and power, at turns seduces and startles. I don't know what that means. Anyway, dark romance, sell yourself, pay your debt.
Oh, I know what this is, but
Me, I know what this is.
I thought it was something else, but...
Okay. Oh, I know what book this is.
Yeah.
I saw the pink and I know what that is.
I'm glad. I thought about buying this, so I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
I can just steal your copy.
There you go. Alright, Docile by K.M.
Spara, I think is how you say it. I don't know.
I don't know.
I've heard a lot about this one. It's like sort of a post-apocalyptic. Well, no, it's like a dystopian sci-fi where it's like people can like sell themselves into slavery, which is like being a docile. You know, it says on the back here, there is no consent under capitalism. So it's sort of like dark and twisted. Sci-fi dystopian gay shit. So I've heard a lot of good things about it, and so if you read that, let me know how that is.
Yeah.
And I'll steal it from you at some point.
It reminds me of the one with Alex and Track.
Yeah, what was that called?
Oh, what was that called? I don't know. It's like...
Oh, Under His Heel.
Yeah, Under His Heel. It's a... It has a very similar premise, but it's like way abusive.
Yeah,
and,
that book's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
But we'll see how this one is.
Yeah.
And then mine is fiction, misunderstandings and mistakes. What could possibly go wrong? LGBTQ protagonist. I wonder why I picked this one up. Yeah, we all have a common theme, don't we?
I know, we all get good shit, we did.
Bittersweet Romance and Chances Lost and Pulitzer Prize winner. I think I know what this is, and I think I already own a copy, but we'll see. Yep, I do own a copy.
Of course. Oh, yeah, it's that one.
Yeah.
When that looks like Trump on there for some reason.
Less by Andrew Sean Greer. I read this a couple years ago for a book club, and I actually really, really liked it. It's the winner of the Pulitzer Prize, I think 2018, I think.
Doesn't it say on the sticker?
No, 2017, so yeah. But yeah, this is actually a pretty funny book about this gay playwright who basically he's just been through a bad breakup, and he decides to go on this he decides to go on, he's a novelist, sorry, not a playwright, but he decides to go on this big tour because he's a famous author, so he's been invited to all these different things, and so in order to kind of take his mind off of his breakup, he decides to go on this world tour, basically.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's actually really good. So yeah, one of you guys can have that because I already own a copy. But yeah, I do recommend that. That's a really good one. So.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our blind books, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So say bye, everyone. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.